an analogy of how we as members of the community have to work together to make a better community. Members of the country have to work together to make it a better country. You know? That's how we have to work together. It's not so much of a win-lose type of situation. It's how can we work together to create a better environment for everyone. That's really what it's all about. If all parties involved would shift to that type of a mindset, then we would have more harmony. And, you know, when everyone is trying to work together to achieve the best results for all parties, then really everyone is better off. You just got to be able to look at the bigger picture and have the type of mindset that cares, you know? Not just about self, but in the big picture scheme of things, cares. That's generally speaking a general concern for people. Obviously, you got to take care of yourself. Obviously, you got to look out for your own interests. But oftentimes, we do that in such a way that we feel like it's a win-lose situation, and that's the only thing that actually works. And many times, it doesn't have to be that extreme. Many times, there's enough available, no matter what you're talking about, no matter what the situation. Oftentimes, it's not 100%. It's not going to always be the case. And I know what you're saying. I know what some of you're saying. Somebody's got to win, somebody's got to lose. That's all in how you characterize it. If both people can benefit, they might not get everything that they want or everything that they need at that particular time. But that doesn't mean that they're losing if they don't get everything. That's what cooperation is. And again, when you do things in such a way that it creates harmony, then you don't really have a loser. And things can be changed in stages. Again, with the mindset that we want to produce the best results overall in the bigger picture of things for all parties involved. All right, I think I'm going over this long enough. All right, y'all, I'm out of here. Got to make it down here to Snider Tire. 8 minutes. I will have about 5 minutes to spare before they close. They don't shut down early. Let's hope they don't shut down early. Do that funky thing. All right, I'm out of here. Peace. Glass half full, you know, no matter what predicament you find yourself in. It's a positive way to look at it, and it's more than likely a lesson that you can get out of it. That's part of the attitude. The other part of the attitude that this helps, the first part, is once you understand that life is not about you, so to speak, and you start to think in a way of how you can help those around you, then that takes you to a place where you don't let things stress you so much. You know, you start to realize that a situation can always be worse, and you'll spend that time and energy on trying to figure out how to rise above the situation instead of feeling like a victim of being in that situation. Trucking is not perfect, and no company is perfect, so having this positive attitude allows you to operate from that foundation, not be overly emotional, feeling like the world is against you, or the company is against you, or society is against you. You know, you got to come to that positive place. The second thing that you must master in order to gain traction toward that big picture goal you have of being successful and happy and prosperous is building relationships. Now, we talked a little bit about your personal relationships and the pros and cons of having them as a truck driver. When I'm talking about building relationships, that's only one part of it. I'm also talking about building relationships with all the people that you deal with, which includes your dispatcher, the company, your shippers and receivers. You know, relationships are at the foundation of prosperity and happiness. You, first of all, treat people the way that you want to be treated. You respect people. You, again, understand that life is not about you so much. People should interact in a way to facilitate harmony, not animosity. Your relationship with your dispatcher is one of the most important relationships you will have as a truck driver. It's important for each one of you to treat trucking as a team effort. Neither one is more important than the other. The dispatcher couldn't do his job of getting freight moved without a driver to drive the truck. A truck driver won't have a destination. You can't get miles to create a paycheck without the dispatcher being there. The dispatcher needs to be competent. The trucking company needs to have freight. But unless you have a working relationship that is harmonious and based on a team effort, then what good is that going to do? They use the service truck. I was so close to exit time, they didn't open the bay. They just used the service truck right there. And that guy doesn't even do tires, he's a mechanic. So, like I said, man, I was just in time, man. Sometimes things work out perfectly, even on the back end. Unfortunately, I had to come to the shop, but obviously it could have been worse. At first, when I got there, she was like, well, we closed. I was like, well, you said y'all closed at 5. It's not quite 5. She said, well, we start charging after hours at 4:30. I'm like, get out of here. Yeah. So she had to call people to get authorization to charge me as if I had gotten there prior to 4:30. And she got it, but we were just supposed to switch a tire off. I had a tire in the trailer. US 25 South. I hadn't realized that they damaged the tire that other people did when they took it off. He charged me for plugging it too. So I ended up having to get a used tire. But I got a Virgin used tire for $150. And it's a lot cheaper than the truck stop, that's for sure.
Not just for poor couples, but for anyone who signed up. And then Michigan is an interesting example. About 15% of TANF funds there go into college financial aid and scholarship programs, and these largely benefit students from middle and upper income families, not just poor kids. So in fact, when you crunch the numbers, actually more TANF money is going to these college scholarship programs in Michigan than to actual cash assistance for needy families.
Wow. Is that because there are just fewer families that need that help?
1,000 feet. Merge onto Route 26 East.
So nationally, poverty has slightly declined in the last couple years since the recession when it spiked. But the poverty rate is just about as high as it was back in 1996 when we overhauled welfare. Around 13% of Americans live below the poverty line, and that's about $24,000 a year per family of four. The other startling phenomenon nationally, families who are poor receive cash assistance. In fact, there are more avid postage stamp collectors than there are people who get cash welfare in the country. Nationally, just 23 out of every 100 families who live at or below the poverty line gets cash assistance. In more than a dozen states, the decline is even more pronounced. Less than 10 out of every 100 poor families gets cash assistance.
And what's behind that decline?
So part of it is the time limits. You're just not allowed to receive assistance for as long, even if you are still struggling with poverty. It's also just a harder program to navigate now. The application process is more difficult and more time consuming. There are these work requirements that can be hard to meet. So for families who don't have a lot of resources, that might just discourage them from even applying.
In your reporting, what did you find in terms of what this actually means for families who are out there struggling to get by and use that cash assistance?
Yeah, so I've talked to people who sell their blood plasma to get by. There are also just the everyday tough choices that families face. I talked to one mom who on a given day might be grappling with whether to buy toilet paper or cough syrup for her kids because she just did not have enough money to buy both.
So the hard question, what is being done, if anything, about it?
Bring what you have. And also when we talk about money management, clean up your credit, pay your outstanding bills so that you can get your credit in good shape while you're saving money. That way, when you come to the decision to become an owner-operator or invest more in truck driving or your training, maybe you want to go to school for heavy haul or specialize in some other area, or maybe you want to become a broker, or you see what I'm saying? There's so many avenues to go into in the truck. Maybe you want to go into another level. Maybe you want to get your own authority. Maybe you want to start your own trucking company. That's why you want to save from the beginning, so that when you make this decision, you can move forward and not say, I wish, and I want, but I can't pursue. So you clean up your credit, you save up your money, and you learn what you can about the trucking industry, if it is your desire to stay in the trucking industry.